Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over some of the things that you can do to help improve the trigger in your G43, G43X, G48, at least without having to go replace complete triggers. So whether that be going with an Apex, Johnny Glock, Overwatch Precision, any of the other big name triggers out there that end up costing a little bit of money. A considerable amount of money, more than just something that the typical person just wants to go shell out. So I do want to say that both these guns are unloaded. As you see, there's no magazine in them. Both chambers are empty. So with I do also want to caveat and say that these are just ways to kind of improve the feel, though I have found that it has reduced the weight also. I'll start off with my G43. So this is a from the factory complete G43. Bought it secondhand. The person that I bought it from claims that they put less than 100 rounds through it. I can't verify that, but you can see there's not really a lot of wear on this, so I could go believe that. And with this here, some of my other videos, I mentioned that it started with the G43, and then I bought the G43X frame along with an OEM lower parts kit. And I would swap the slide back and forth and go between having G43 or a kind of made to order G43X. Just recently, I picked up the G48 frame from Big Tech's Ordnance. So you could basically say that this is like a brand new gun. I have not put many rounds through the lower. I would say that's probably less than 50, or maybe right around 50. I have not shot the upper whatsoever. The upper was a complete OEM upper, so everything in here was OEM as I got it. So to go over some of the things that you can do to improve it, I would say that one of the biggest differences that you can make is by going with one of these ghost edge connectors. The factory connector that is in the Glock is their minus connector, as identifiable by, if I can get the camera to focus, that little minus you see on the tang right there. So unlike the minus connectors of its larger brethren, at least my gun, and from what I hear and read a lot about on the forums, the factory OEM connector and trigger coming out of the G43, 43X, and 48 is crap. And I will agree with that. I will say that on my G48, when I first tested it with my Wheeler trigger pull scale, it was about 7 pounds. So pretty hefty, especially when you're used to getting an OEM Glock running around 5.5 pounds, 5 pounds, depending on whether you're running the standard connector, dot connector, minus connector. But let's just say typically around 5 pounds. So granted, it is also brand new, and I think most people know that when you buy a brand new Glock, the best thing that you can do on really any striker fire gun is just shoot the crap out of it, and the trigger will get better with time, as all those mating surfaces and bearing surfaces wear in together and kind of naturally polish themselves. So it's things you can do, though, to improve that right off the bat. So like I mentioned, got the ghost edge connector. First put it in the G43, then I put it in the G48. Did not see the same amount of difference in pull weight between the two. The 43 was lighter, and maybe that's because it was secondhand and already been shot a bit. I don't know 100%, but the other thing that you can do is what is called the 25-cent trigger job, which basically consists of some metal polish. I know the Flitz is very popular, but any type of metal polish will do. You just take a little bit of a Q-tip and you put it on the bearing surfaces, which would be the safety plunger, the vertical fin that engages the safety plunger that's on the trigger bar, the surface on the trigger bar that mates against the connector itself, and the top of the trigger bar back where the striker slash firing pin engages and slides back and forth, along with the leading edge of the striker itself. From what I understand of that, all you're basically doing with this 25-cent trigger job is inducing the wear that would happen if you when you shoot it, hundreds of rounds through it, maybe 1,000 rounds through it. So regardless, if you do have a brand new G43, 43X, or 48 and you are just absolutely disgusted with that trigger like I was, you can find that it does help. So first time I've ever done one was on this G48, and I did it about an hour ago. I wish I would have documented it as I went. Like I mentioned, the OEM minus connector had a pull weight of about 7 pounds. Once I dropped in the Ghost Edge connector, I was getting a pull weight of a little over 5 pounds, which isn't horrible, but it still just felt really, really heavy. Did not feel like my 5-pound triggers on my larger Glocks. So I went ahead, picked up some of the splits today, and along with, also when you polish, use a Dremel tool with the felt polishing wheel. And I do want to stress that when you are doing this, you absolutely positively should never use anything but something that is non-abrasive. So absolutely no stones, no cutters. It should strictly be the felt wheels, and you should even be very careful of these. Though, I have a hard time seeing, unless you were really grinding on this thing at 25,000 RPM, that you would start removing metal. I just want to stress that, you should be careful with this. I know that in some of the videos I saw for the 25-cent trigger job, the guys didn't even do that. They just simply put on the flits and then polished it with a soft cotton cloth. So, like I mentioned, I already did it on this one. And I'm not going to go through the whole process. I just want to show results, because there are already plenty of videos out there that show you how to do the 25-cent trigger job. So I just want to, again, show you guys out there who are maybe looking for an easy and budget option to get some relief on that trigger. It may prevent you completely from deciding to go drop, anywhere from $50 to $175 on a aftermarket drop-in trigger. So back to the 48, like I mentioned, about 7-pound pull with the OEM minus connector. Dropping in the Ghost Edge connector brought it down to a little over 5. And then after I did the 25-cent trigger job on this, I am now, let's see, that one showed about 4.5, a little over. That one is a hair under 4.5. And that one is a hair under 4.5. So out of the 3 pulls, let's just say that this now has about a 4.5-pound trigger pull. Definitely feels, as you go through and get the take up, it does feel cleaner. It does feel a little bit smoother. Obviously, going from a 7-pound trigger down to a 4.5-pound trigger, you do feel a huge difference in the take up, or I'm sorry, in the break of the trigger. Obviously, it doesn't really do a whole lot with your over travel. Reset's still nice and crisp. It's still a Glock trigger, striker fired. Obviously they're never going to be a 1911 feeling trigger. But anybody who shoots a Glock knows that that's not really obtainable. Or if you're using this for concealed carry or duty use or home defense, you really don't want something that light. So 4.5 pounds on this gun, I am really happy with that. I do feel that as I shoot it some more, it will lighten up. So again, Ghost Edge connector. I I think I got this thing for $18 on eBay. That's really about the going price for it. I just bought it on eBay since the seller that I got it from had free shipping, so no added cost there. And then moving on to the G43. So again, have the same ghost edge connector in it. Have not done the 25-cent trigger job to this, which I am going to do. I'm not going to do it on camera. I am just going to show results. But currently, with its as used condition that I bought it, along with the rounds that I put through it, which again hasn't been a ton, probably 50 or less, and then the ghost edge connector, this trigger it's a little over 4. About right at 4. And again, right at about 4. So on average, this is pulling about 4 pounds. And I know some people may feel that that's too light. It feels, it definitely to me does not feel like it is a hair trigger. It still takes some concentrated effort to pull. So I am going to go ahead and do the 25-cent trigger job because like I mentioned with the G48, it took it down little more than a ½ pound. So very, very curious to see what that does here. I don't really think that it's going to do a whole lot because I think you get a better result or more of a drastic result on a gun that's brand new that has not already been shot with many rounds through it, where again those mating surfaces that are rubbing together haven't naturally already polished themselves together. And again, that's where the 25-cent trigger job really helps out, is that it just recreates the artificial wear that you would get from shooting at hundreds of rounds, maybe 1,000 rounds. So again, while the 43 undetermined amount of rounds, I don't think I'm going to get as drastic of a result, at least in the reduction in the pull weight. But this trigger here, I mean, it feels pretty good with just the ghost edge connector. Feels smooth, again, going through the take up, no grittiness. You hit that wall and then it breaks. So 4 pound break, 4.5 pound break. Let's do, I'm going to do the trigger job and then come back to the video.